I want to tell you something I'm almost embarrassed to admit. For a long time, I could not run the sound system at my church without somebody coming to help me. My grandson has to show me features on my phone that he thinks I already know. And in late September of last year, at 77 years old, I decided to start learning artificial intelligence. I really had no reason to do that, zero background, zero preparation, but I did it anyway. If you've been sitting on the sidelines because you don't feel technical enough, stay with me, because I might be the best argument you ever going to find for ignoring that feeling. My whole working life was physical. Grocery store, the army, moving houses, pouring concrete, running a mowing business for 13 years. I wore my body out doing honest work, and I was proud of that. But none of it, not one day of it, had anything to do with computers or technology or anything that plugged into a wall and needed a password. And let's be honest, that was back before all that. When I retired, I didn't really know what to do with myself. I felt a little forgotten, honestly. I wondered if my useful years were just behind me now. That's a hard feeling to carry. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then something started pulling at me. This idea that maybe there was still something left to build. Something I could do from where I was with what I had, even at this age. So I bought a $27 course on AI of all things, a subject I could not have defined correctly if my life depended on it. And I want to tell you what happened, not because it's impressive, but because it might be exactly what you need to hear today. The first thing I did when I opened that course was to feel completely lost. Not a little lost, completely lost. Like somebody stopped me in the middle of a foreign country and handed me a map written in a language I don't read. I didn't know the words they were using. I didn't know what half the tools were. I'd ask a question and the answer would have three more words in it I didn't understand. And here's what I did. I asked another question and another one after that. I didn't pretend I understood when I didn't. I didn't go looking for a more advanced course, thinking that would fix the confusion. I just stayed right where I was and kept asking the next small question until that one made sense. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's not just a saying for me. That's generally how I got through this. Now, I want to be honest with you about something. There were moments when I thought this is too much, where I'd spend an hour trying to figure out one thing and still not have it right, where I'd wonder if my brain just wasn't built for this anymore. But then I'd think about pouring concrete. When I was doing construction, I didn't know everything about concrete the first day I worked with it. I learned by mixing it, by laying it, by making mistakes that somebody with more experience helped me fix. I didn't read a manual and then go build a foundation. I built the foundation and learned while I was building. That's what this has been. I didn't wait until I understood everything before I started. I couldn't have. I didn't even know what I didn't know. I just started. One small step, then the next one. And here's what I can tell you now, six some months into this, I'm doing things with technology that my former self would not have believed possible. Not because I became a tech person, I'm still not a tech person, but because I stopped letting not being a tech person be the reason I didn't try. The thing that helped me most wasn't finding an easier course or waiting till I felt ready. It was having a path that was already laid out. Step one, step two, step three. So I didn't have to figure out the order of things on top of trying to figure out the things themselves. That took an enormous amount of pressure off. I could just follow the next step without having to see the whole staircase. I've recorded all 1189 chapters of the King James Bible on YouTube because I felt like God told me to. And I had to stop and think about that before I done that. But I obeyed. I didn't do that because I'm a fast man or a technically gifted man, because I showed up and did the next chapter. That's all this is, too. If you've been telling yourself you're not the right kind of person for this, too old, too far behind, not technical enough, I want to gently push back on that because I'm about as far from the right kind of person as you can get, and I'm still here, still building, still learning something new every week. The only thing you actually need is a willingness to not quit when it gets confusing, because it will get confusing. That's just part of it. The confusion isn't a sign you're wrong for this. It's a sign you're in the middle of learning something real. And I want to add something here. You need to stir your mind up, keep your mind busy, and that's another reason for doing this. I argued with God for 3 years about becoming a pastor. 3 years of telling him I wasn't qualified, wasn't prepared, wasn't the right man. And he just kept waiting, patient as anything. Eventually I stood up and said yes. Probably not the proper way to accept a calling, but it was honest, and he used it anyway. I think about that a lot now. How many things in my life I almost didn't do because I didn't feel ready? And how many of those things turned out to be exactly where I was supposed to be? God doesn't always call the equipped, but he does tend to equip the called, one step at a time in the doing, not before it. If the only thing standing between you and trying something new is the feeling that you're not technical enough, I'll just say this, neither was I, and I started anyway. What helped me was finding something with a clear path and someone to walk it with me. Put a link in the description to what I found. Take a look when you're ready, no rush and no pressure. Thank you for being here today. It means more than you know. I'll see you Monday.